Hi everybody, it's Carla. It is Labor Day and I hope you're all going to enjoy a beautiful day wherever you are. And I wanted to show you that I finished a pair of socks this morning. I have this little book that I've made up. It was just a blank page journal, and I've put specific patterns that I enjoy making or that I want to try to make in it. And the one on the very inside cover was one that I found from a 1950s or 60s little craft book at the thrift store, and back at that time it sold for 10 cents, so it tells you how old it is that they could sell books back then and still make money. But one sock they had in there was called a rib heelless sock, and the original pattern asked for a 4-ounce skein of knitted worsted weight and size 8 knitting needles, and it made it flat, and it had a seam, and it had a drawstring toe, and I didn't want any of that, but I did like the idea of a 1x1 ribbing at the top, and then going down to a 2x2 ribbing for the leg and the foot. And then I ended mine with a decreased toe and worked in stockinette stitch. And so I wrote my own little things down here, and I wanted to show you too. I used a vintage size 4 11-inch circular needle to make these, and I used some Christmas color thrifted yarn. I think it's a worsted weight, but I did, instead of casting on 32 stitches like they said, I did 40, so it might actually be more like a sport weight yarn. But it was really pretty. It's got some, if you can see it up close, it's got a little bit of silver wrapped around all the strand, and it's red, green, and white, and it comes out kind of pinkish in some areas. And I'll show you now. Again, here's the sock that I made my own adaptation for. I usually don't try to make it exactly, and plus my feet, I have a wider toe, and I didn't want to have this weird, see that there? That drawstring circle at the end. And then I didn't want to make them flat because I didn't want to have to sew up a seam up the back. So I used my circular needle. And then I wrote my own directions down here, what I did, so I don't forget what I did. And I'll show you my my socks. Oh, and I'm out here on the porch where my husband painted the porch, so it's partially painted. Here's the old color. He hasn't finished yet, but he's got most of the floor done for the porch. And here are my socks. There we go. Those are my socks. And they're like tube socks. They're just worked in the round from the cuff all the way to the toe. And then I wove the toe ends together. And you can see the stockinette stitch right there, where it's different than the ribbing. And then it's got the 1x1 ribbing up here at the top, so it fits better. But yeah. It's very comfortable, and if I make it in a lighter weight, it would be, you know, perfect inside the shoe. I think this would be more like a boot sock in this kind of weight. And of course then I'd have to adjust the stitches. I'd probably do, if I use regular sock yarn, I'd probably do a 56 or a 50 or a 56 stitch cast on, and then work it down from there. I think a 64 would be a man size sock in this kind of configuration with this kind of ribbing. But it's very comfortable, and I like how it worked. Yeah, there's my feet. And there's my yard here on Labor Day. So I just wanted to show you that and show you how cute. I think they turned out really, really cute. Very, very comfy. And I like the toe with the woven end. So, yep, again, I used this Christmas yarn that was thrifted, and this size 11-inch size 4 knitting needle. And like I said, I found these vintage ones on eBay. I think now the main ones they make are 9-inch, and I just cannot use a 9-inch. It cramps my hand too much, but 11-inch is perfect for what I do. So I hope you like it. I hope you're having a beautiful day wherever you are. And yeah, I just enjoy making you know, my knitting and stuff, and I do it my own way. And like, again, this was the ribbed heelless socks. And then I just kind of, in this book, And I think I got this at the thrift store too, if I'm not mistaken. I put other things like a infant's 3-piece set with a little bonnet, some little socks and mitts. Women's reversible gloves. These are all from the 50s and 60s in those little craft books that I found. And I just thought it was cute. And these are knitted flat on a size 8 needles, which I think I might try that, because look how they did the gloves, and then they just seam them in one seam and you have all that. Well, I guess you have to seam the fingers too. A garter stitch scarf and ponytail hat. I like that, because now they call them bun hats, you know, but back in the day when girls wore ponytails, I thought that was really cute. Crochet some socks. Now I have made one pair of these, but I crocheted it and then added a knitted border with these same small circular needles, because I don't like the crocheted ribbing border. I don't think it's real, you know, you can't cinch it up really good, and I like it better with the knitted one. There's a girl I watch on YouTube that she makes hats to donate to a homeless shelter, and it's called the Photographer Hat, and that's a pattern off of Ravelry, and I think that's a free pattern. Knitted socks, magic loop. This is just my own take on it, and that's whenever I use the 40-inch circular needle size 2, but I much prefer using these little short needles. I do get my plastic canvas products from Mary Maxim, and here's a catalog I got for their winter catalog. I just stuck it in there. Let's see what else. Loom knit heels, how to make those on a 32 peg sock loom, and loom knit heels on a 40 peg sock loom. A crochet set and a knit set of a dishcloth and a pot holder, and I think those are cute. Crocheted there and knit there. Again, these are all old and vintage little craft books from the 50s and 60s. This I thought was cute, a woman's crochet sandal. Just really cute. It looks like a little kid one, but I thought that would be cute. You know, who knew? You can make a sandal. Worsted weight knit socks. And this is just a very short one, my own take on something. Cast 40 stitches on a size 4 11-inch circular needle. Knit 1, purl 1, rib for 12 rows. For the leg, work 50 rounds. In stockinette for the heel, on 20 stitches, have 6 on one side, 8 for the center of the heel, and 6 on the other side. Work 55 rounds for the foot, and work the toe, either make a barn toe or work same as the heel. Kitchener stitch it close, weave in cut in ends to finish, and yay! I don't know. This one, loom knit socks with sport or DK weight yarn. That's my own little version there. And yeah, I've always done this. I've just kind of wrote my own little patterns down, or found a pattern and then I made my own adaptations to it. Revamped sock. Here apparently I had to redo something. And when I paper clip something, that means it's ones I've done and I want to do again. And it's just easier to find it that way. Heel part 1 on a 40 stitch sock, wrap and turn method for heels. Found this in a craft magazine. It was just stuck inside there. I don't even know where it's from, but it's got little crocheted Christmas ornaments, and this one on the front I like are Christmas trees. And of course, if you've ever bought a nifty or a sock loom, you get the little instructions, and that's the booklet. 28 peg loom socks. Now those are more like house slipper socks, made with worsted weight yarn. And that's another one I've made some of, and I like it, and that's the page 2 of that. Let's see what else we got here. I don't know. Gumdrop yarn socks. Now, if you saw one of my other videos, I had a red with polka dot kind of worsted weight yarn. And that was the brand Gumdrop Yarn Socks. And this was my directions to make that. And 28 peg loom socks, slipper socks, again house socks. And then I put down here my note, use 2 skeins, strands held together of worsted weight yarn or a single strand of chunky yarn. Knit socks using sport weight yarn to fit me. So these are just all, you know, specific for me or my husband or my son. And that's how I do that. These are pot holders I want to eventually make. Practical, pretty pot holders. Here's a picture. And also I've seen people make a memories blanket or an afghan, and it uses this same kind of technique right there, where it's diagonal and it's corner to corner, and I thought I could do that maybe with leftover sock yarn and make tiny squares. 2-color textured afghan. And it's right there. I like these blocks that you can make, and you can turn them into dishcloths, pot holders, or piece them together to make an afghan, or piece them end to end to make a long scarf. I do that sometimes. A rainbow hat and scarf. Again, another old pattern from an old craft book. And sometimes I do that. I go through a craft book, and I do this with cookbooks too. I don't keep them all intact. If I find there's most of the book I'm not going to use, but there's a few things in there, I'll cut it out and I'll put it in my own book. And I've made cookbooks up that way with things I like. A heavy crocheted jacket. I just like that. I thought it was very warm looking. I'm in Alabama. You don't need it super warm, but that would be good for the winter for here. A large hat for Boo. Boo is my honey's nickname. And our family has big heads, so we got to kind of adapt the pattern to fit our heads. What can I say? It doesn't mean we're extra smart. It just means we have to adapt hats to fit. A zigzag scarf. And I just like the pattern right down here. I thought, well, that would be really pretty to use leftover worsted weight yarn and a size 10 knitting needle, and you make it flat. And I like that. Just a different take on a scarf, because sometimes, you know, it's just the same old scarf is not good. Rick Rack baby afghan. You know, the little zigzag. I think it's really cute. And that's a crocheted on a size E hook. And this I like the, well, let's see. I gotta move something here. Right there. Roll collar sweater. And this is from March, April 1980 of a crochet magazine. Here's another nifty knitter. This was from the thrift store, and because I buy my knitting looms, I don't buy them in the whole big package at Walmart or craft stores. If I just find them in the thrift store, I pick them up, and I've accumulated a few, and then I found this that went with the nifty knitter package, and I thought I'd just get that. And it'd give me some ideas for hats and scarves and such. How to crochet the V-stitch. And I watched a YouTuber make beautiful V-stitch scarves out of Lion Brand homespun yarn. And then I just looked up how to do the stitch, and I've made that myself. Kids denim. And it's just a really cute little overall. That was on the band wrapped around some knitting yarn, Karen's sport weight yarn, and it said kids denim. What is this one? I don't even know. Oh, I know what it is. This is an old one too. It says Fancy That, and it's basically kind of a crocheted t-shirt that's worked in the, well, it's worked in 2 parts and seamed together, but I would just crochet it in the round and make the sleeves in the round. Or see, you know, you'd only have to seam the sleeves, so I think that's kind of cool. And this is one I really want to try because I put my cute little heart paper clip on it. Then I just have some different odds and ends back here. I don't know what I was doing. Doctor Who scarf. You know, the color code of how to do the Doctor Who scarf. 8-inch wide on a G-hook, chain 36, and then you start with burgundy, camel, copper, sunshine, lipstick, burgundy, and gray, and just keep repeating it, and you get this Doctor Who scarf. homespun yarn colors, some that I have and some that I would like to get. I do like homespun. A lot of people don't like it, but I really do. And here's some more homespun colors. A sweater that I was going to attempt to try. Crochet hook case, sleeves 48 stitches around the armhole, sweater bottom 132 stitches. Crochet chevron afghan. And then I was going to make shawls, and I have made some. I made one, this one down here I did make, and it was called the sidewalk shawl or something, and I just made that up with my own colors I had. And I named each stripe different names of concrete and cement and pavement, and it was pavement, cement, concrete, blacktop, sidewalk, gravel, cobblestone, composite, 2-track, red clay, dirt and stones. And then I looked for the yarn that matched those descriptions, and it came out really, really pretty. Here would be a lilac and bloom shawl, shades of purple, white, and dark green, because I love lilacs, and they were everywhere in Michigan, and when we came south, that was one of the most things I missed, because I love the smell of lilacs in the spring, and they just do not grow down here, so too hot for it. And then a mermaid shawl colors, blues, green, purple, coral, white, sand, and gray. A Gila shawl, you know, the Gila monster. When I was a kid, those two colors used to make me sick if I looked at it. Couldn't stand it. Maybe I thought of the giant lizard, but I like them now. Shades of pink and black. And a golf course, the Fore shawl, F-O-R-E exclamation. Several shades of green, blue, silver, sand, and white. Just an idea for in the future if I want to make something. And then I have a Cindy Wood loom, and this just gives the directions to how to make some stuff on that. A boy basic hooded scarf with fringe. That's also another loom project. And that, I believe, might be it. And then I've just got blank pages to fill with other patterns. But yeah, that's kind of how I get my favorite patterns grouped together. I have a lot of craft books and magazines, but I also thrift them back to the thrift store if I haven't used them in a long time or don't think I'm really going to use them. And then I just, what I love making mostly are socks and scarves and hats. And there's my feet. Now if I do this, is it like there's no place like home? And I do like Dorothy, and I'm suddenly home? No, I am home. Oh, and we have some outside kittens. I don't know if you can see them in the distance. They're playing in a couple of cardboard boxes that we pick up at Aldi's. We get the big ones that come in like the bananas and lemons and the melons that are heavier weight, and they love to play on those boxes. And then when they get rained on, I just take them to the dump and get them some new boxes, and it's good for these little kittens. And their mama cat is out there with them. Yeah, she just showed up one day out of this little swampy wooded area, and then she showed up by herself. I started feeding her, and then a few weeks later she showed up with 4 little black kittens. And so we have some little kittens that live outside. They don't want to be touched. They don't, you know, you can go within a few inches of them if you're bringing them food, but any other time they just scurry back into the swamp line. And so we take care of them, feed them twice a day, water them. They give them little boxes to play in, and they got their mama with them. So, yeah. Okay, everyone, hope you're having a good day, and hope you like my socks, and hope your Labor Day is wonderful. And again, if you can get your hands on an 11-inch circular needle, it's awesome to make socks with. I've got it in size 0, size 2, and size 4. I'm always looking to see if I can find others, but that's all I've ever found. And then this pretty Christmas yarn, which has got a ton, probably enough to make a tree skirt or something if I crocheted it. But thank you so much for watching, and I just wanted to share what I had today and share my little crafts, and it's beautiful outside, and I thought I'd show off my husband's paint job on our porch. I think it's really neat. Oh, and he also scattered sand in it, so this winter, in our winter, we don't get a lot of snow. We get maybe 4 or 5 snow days, but we get tons of rain, tons and tons of rain, torrential rains, and this porch can just be so slick. So he actually threw sand down as he painted, and it gives it a nice grip to the porch. And he's also painting on our steps, and he's working on it. So thank you all for watching. And there's my pretty yarn, and there are my socks. Okay, we'll talk to y'all later, and thanks so much. Bye.